Live. Do we have any people from the public attending that would like to speak?
We do not.
We do not. We're not going to approve the minutes because we don't have a quorum. We're going to pass on that, but I did read the minutes and they're very good. So good job, Doug. I will say that. And then we'll move on to tree planting program for fall. Paul.
Okay. I know Rich sent me a list of trees that he had.
Hey,
and-
Paul, I'm sorry, hold on one second. One attendee just came on. Let me just see if she would like to speak. Emily, would you like to speak?
Hi, thank you. No, that's okay. I just wanted to see how I can get involved again with the Norwalk Tree Alliance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry, Paul, go ahead.
If you would, I can answer the question if you'd like, and you would like to give me a call, I can give you my information and you can contact me and we can talk to you about how you could get more involved with the tree advisory committee. We're always looking for new people and tree liaisons within neighborhoods. So welcome.
Welcome.
The fall planting program. So Richard sent me a list of trees and I wasn't going to go through every single tree that we have tonight on our list one by one, but what I was just going to do is highlight some of the areas that we know we have stuff going on so that people continue working on your lists and we don't end up having duplicate efforts. So the tree advisory committee and DPW for this fall was going to work on housing authority complexes, which we're going to be meeting with Adam Pavelski, the director of housing. So we will be meeting with him and his team to determine where we're going to be adding trees at a variety of different housing authority complexes. We're going to be doing work at schools and a variety of the different schools. And one of the main reasons too we picked these kind of locations too is because the tree advisory committee and DPW with the planting contract that we have Olmsted on board, and something else I'll talk about in a couple minutes and a couple items down too. But these contracts where we purchase the trees are responsible for the watering for 2 years. So with the schools and the housing authority complexes, it would be very difficult to run hoses 2 or 3 or 400 feet away from the building with these sites. So it's a perfect fit for us to work with those because of the watering that's part of the contract for 2 years. We had a lady that we all know from the past, Gay McLeod, had gotten in touch with me with a couple of things related to her neighborhood. And she had also come up with a list of locations too that she provided to me for Fox Run School. She'd like to see some more trees on that curve as we've talked about with Gay in previous years. Honus Avenue and also Hunter's Lane. She gave me a list of locations for those areas. And as part of our restoration work for our sidewalk and curbing contract, we'll be doing plantings up on Elmwood Avenue. We'd like to now continue what we started with the grant program on Woodward Avenue and another sidewalk and curb program up on Plymouth Avenue. And we will also be doing some plantings there. In addition, TMP has got another grant in conjunction with the health department, and we'll be doing more plantings up on Wilton Avenue this fall. And then as part of the Martin Luther King initiative, we'd like to continue with the DECD grant and continue what we started on the upper end of Martin Luther King, headed south now for the fall too.
Great. Okay, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
This is what you just alluded to, I believe, update on the tree planting program, RFP contract.
Yes, as we mentioned last month, due to the requirements for the legal requirements and also the requirements in the advertising and, like I said, the legal contract for ARPA funding, the purchasing agent and the law office said that we were going to have to put another RFP out, as we had mentioned last month, for the tree planting program so that we could have vendors bid on it and include the clauses and contract information that was required for ARPA funding. So we've done that, and Rich had sat on the committee, and we went through the people who came in and we interviewed them. And what we've decided to do in talking with the purchasing agent is, because of the amount of money, 200,000 over 2 years for the Public Works and Tree Advisory Committee budget, plus 500,000 over 2 years for the Economic Development Department budget, the total of $700,000 over 2 years, which is going to be a lot of planting. We decided that we would go with 2 contractors. Olmsted, who has our current tree planting contract, will be doing some of the larger projects. And then we've gone with a smaller vendor too, Minutemen. They will handle some of the smaller projects, the one-offs, the 5s here, 4 here, that kind of thing. So we're going to divide it up and give it to 2 vendors, Olmsted and Minutemen.
And I'd just like to add that, as Paul said, I was part of that interview process. And the second contractor, as he stated, is Minuteman Landscaping. And they're a locally based Norwalk company. And they've done previous work with the city of Norwalk. And as Paul stated, we have a lot more funds available moving forward. And I think it's beneficial not to have all our eggs in one basket, so to speak. And it also may create a little bit of friendly competition when there's 2 contractors for planting, where if one contractor can't fulfill a contract or respond in a timely manner, we now have an option for a second contractor to fulfill our planting. So I think it's going to work out well moving forward.
And the purchasing agent had basically suggested, since Olmsted is a larger company, if we have large projects like the one we just did on Martin Luther King Drive, where we have like 80 trees, we'll go with the larger contractor for those kind of things. But the smaller projects where there's 1 here, 5 here, 10 there, that kind of thing, try and use Minutemen for some of those smaller ones and divide it up.
Yeah, and if if the new contractor, I should say, for one reason or another doesn't work out, we're not locked into continuing to use the new contractor. It just gives us a second option, which I think is good. Okay, great on that, I think. Next is the update on the grant-funded intern.
Okay, as Professor Kipp had said last month, the Tree Advisory Committee was fortunate enough to be awarded a grant from the Connecticut Urban Forest Council, where we were able to have a college student come and do GIS inventorying of the trees and locating them for trees that we had planted through the various city agencies, whether it be the Tree Advisory Committee, DPW, or through Parks and Rec, or even if it was for some of the other volunteer groups like the Tree Alliance. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Jessica Guy. Jessica was the intern who we were fortunate enough to be blessed with to come and work for us. And Jessica really did a great job, and you're going to see what she did and accomplished it in a very short period of time. And between her and someone else that I wanted to talk about in a minute too, Lindsay King, who's the GIS analyst for the city of Norwalk from IT department, they really put a program together where they worked well together and created what you're about to see, while Jessica went out and did the field work. And like I said, Jessica did a great job. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Jessica and she can show you what she accomplished.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show basically what I spent my time doing this summer. So what I did was I would go out into the field and I would fill out this survey. So you can see there's like different categories. Typically I'd put in the address, what type of tree it is. Here it's like the genus name or like the scientific name of the tree. I'd measure the tree. and I'd use the information that was given to me that shows like when it was planted, who planted it, and then lastly notes, which is typically something I didn't use often, but was very helpful if, for example, the tree was unhealthy looking or something of the sort. So I can note that. And then the last two parts would be that I would input the location, which is through this map, and upload an image of the tree. And all of that would then be collected into a GIS database. So this is something that Lindsay helped me with. She created this whole thing, this dashboard, and you can see each individual point here represents one tree. So Paul mentioned Martin Luther, which is where I first started locating trees. As he said, there was like 80. So you can see each tree is represented by a green dot, and you can see what type it is and all the information, the location, the exact address, and lastly, the image of the tree. And it's all compiled here into this one database.
Jessica, how long does it, I have a question, sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
How long does it take you when you have that information to go out on average?
On average, I would typically
Do like
take-
one tree?
I'd take maybe about 5 minutes per tree, something like that. And if it's a big order, like on Martin Luther, there was 80 trees. And you know, I had to walk a good amount up and down Martin Luther to get through all of them. So you can estimate maybe it took me at least 160 minutes, at least double the amount of trees in order to complete each order.
And then when they're spread out, obviously,
Yeah, it would take a little bit longer.
yeah, because you got to keep changing locations, sure.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, but Lindsay did a great job compiling all this information and showing exactly where all the trees are. It shows all the types of trees also on the right. You can see like the totals of each type and the total of trees planted by each organization on the bottom left, and if they're hybrid or native on the bottom right. Yeah.
Very useful.
One of the things too that was very interesting too is when Lindsay put this together for the 502 trees that Jessica located in, mind you, she did that in less than 3 weeks' time. 502 trees was a lot of trees. So you've got the information for the diameter and with the quantities. If you were to hover over one of those dots, you've got the quantity of that diameter. You can also see over where the variety of how many trees were planted at this point by the city of Tree Advisory Committee, DPW. Rex and Park has started now to fill in because Jessica was able to do some of those. And just like I said, 502 trees plus what was done last year. We're up to now about 819 trees located out of probably 1,200 that we've planted since 2006.
Does that, Paul, I have a question. Does that inventory also separate like third taxing district for the trees that were planted in East Norwalk?
They need to be located. And as I mentioned, when I was at the Tree Alliance meeting last week, I need some volunteers to go out and do this. Or we're trying to see if we can ask Jessica to come back somehow, whether it be during the winter time or even next summer. But I want to say one thing. Jessica is an architectural student, and obviously school is number one. But she's done this as a great job, and she's going to college and done all this work. And then Lindsay, with what she's done in putting this survey together and customizing it for us, it was a great team. They worked really well together.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. Jessica, if by any chance you can't come back, could you recommend someone to fulfill your void?
I'm sure I could. There are plenty of very driven students at NTC, the school I go to. So
That
I
would
could
be very
definitely
helpful.
yeah, and Erica Kipp works there. She's a professor there. So I bet she could definitely reach out to, one of those students.
Well, ideally, we'd like to have you back.
Yeah,
Looks like you did a great job. Congratulations. Thank you.
thank you.
She did an awesome job. And those two things, one thing she just mentioned, and I'll add another word to it too. She said driven, but her work ethic for her age was unbelievable.
That's fantastic. Looks very user friendly.
Yeah, Lindsay was really helpful with making it easy for me to input all this information. And if at any point, because sometimes, I'll make a human error out in the field, which is, inevitable, but I was able to go back and edit it, and she made it really easy for me to be able to do that as well.
Well, thank you both.
Thank
And
you.
she had a really good system where she was able to come back. She would go out, locate stuff, and each night or the next morning, she'd take a few minutes, get her work orders that we were printing out for her, and then edit the data, just making sure everything was accurate when she was cleaning it up, and then on to the next group. And it was a very efficient process.
Yeah, looks very good. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much, Jessica and Lindsay, both for that.
Lindsay, is there anything you'd like to add or say?
I guess not particularly. Jess did a really great job. And yeah, I think just building upon this tree data moving forward will be helpful for many different departments. So it was a fun project. I think we got a lot of value out of Jess's work this summer.
Is there any missing information that the tree advisory committee and or the city should be providing when you're going out to locate these trees that will make it easier?
I think it's everything that was given to me. I think, it was enough information. Sometimes maybe you would get a little bit lost if, for example, there were trees in someone's backyard, or sometimes there are trees missing, but that is something that's essentially my job to go ahead and determine whether or not that is an issue, because that is what this whole thing is locating it. And if, for example, a tree is missing, then that's something that I had to bring up to Paul. But everything, all the information was given. It was very useful. And like he said, I was able to be pretty efficient with it.
Great. Okay.
The
Thank you.
goal would be now is once we get these 1,200 trees in the system, it would be nice if we could basically have the ability to go out each year and locate them as we're planting them. And then, when we were doing 100, 150 a year, instead of trying to catch up with 1,200 of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lindsay, Lindsay's a little shy. I want to say thank you for all the work you did too. She's been great, and she really took the lead on this and putting the whole thing together. So thank you for all of your work, Lindsay.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lindsay.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay, next item, Olmsted watering management schedule. And before we jump into that, I just want to say I sent Paul some information because I was down in Sono area on South Main and North Main yesterday and today, and they intersect with Washington. And so I checked the linden trees that we had planted on Washington, which I know are well out of warranty. And they've all had flexi pave installed around the base of them to reduce trip hazard and reduce soil compaction in the tree pits. But while I was there inspecting the trees, not unlike a lot of trees this season right now, those trees are in desperate need of water. And I wanted to bring that up before we get into Olmsted watering tree maintenance, because I don't think we currently have someone to water the trees. I wanted to bring it up as we go into the Olmsted's contract to see if we could request that those trees be put on some supplemental watering for the balance of August and September. Because we have a big investment in those trees. We We removed the trees that were initially there in poor condition, the pear trees, we replaced them all. We waited a couple of years till we put the flexi pave in to make sure they were acclimated. And they're just suffering from the prolonged heat and drought that we've had this summer. So they would love some water last week. And that's why I wanted to bring that up.
One of the issues is right now too, the city doesn't actually have a watering contractor or watering truck. So what I'm gonna see, I'll see if I can get maybe DPW operations possibly to do something. I'm not sure if they really even have anything that we could use for water for the trees because of what, you know, their water trucks are using for catch basins, things like that. So I don't know if we really want to mix it, but let me see what I can do to see if I can get something. And if not, maybe I'll see if we can get some people to walk down on Washington Street and just at least knock on the doors and ask some of the storefronts if they would do some of the watering, at least to try and keep them alive.
Could we also ask Gary, while he's doing the maintenance watering for the trees that are warranted, to furnish us with a price for supplemental watering for those trees that are out of warranty?
I could do that because he's in the area anyway.
He's in the area.
So I could ask him if he could give us a price to water maybe 10 or 20 different spot location trees like those. There's like, I think we planted like 8 or 10 of them there.
Yeah, and take it out of the tree planting budget because I'd hate to see those trees like not make it.
Overall, at some point, it would be beneficial if either, but the problem is we don't have the capital funds to go buy a watering truck. Because I've heard people mention, well, can't you get a 50-gallon tank on a truck? That, as you know, isn't going to work because by the time they do 2 or 3 sites, they'd spend all the time running back and forth to the highway garage to fill the truck. You need a couple thousand gallons.
Yeah.
So we have to buy a
Thinking
truck.
outside the box now, but perhaps when we redo the contract, that's something that we put in is for supplemental watering as requested.
We could do that and see if there's any way we can get something or see if we can get the prices so that we can maybe add it and do a change order to the contract. That's something else we could do too.
Yeah, and whether we ask Olmsted and both the new contractor, you know, that's a good comparison right there as well, you know?
Yeah, that's a possibility. So let me check into that and see if we can at least get something done for Washington Street right now.
Yeah, because it needs it pretty desperately. All right, I didn't want to jump ahead of you, but I wanted to bring that up.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, this is the top of the list. Some of these are from 2020, so they haven't been watering them right now. In this area, Leonard Street, West Avenue, we've got some that they've started going out now. Calf Pasture Beach, they've been doing the sweet gums down there. Sycamores, they've been doing over, last time was in July 22nd. They've gone through some of the stuff that we planted recently, and you can see where over on Woodward Avenue, they've been doing them in June. And then some of those trees have been watered and maintained by the people that were there. We've got the cherry tree that was watered on the 16th of August. Some of these other ones down on First Street were last year. Then we've got the calf pasture, other ones. So you can see they've been going out watering 816 down at Ludlow Park. In the various areas. So between supplemental watering and the gator bags, you can see down at Baxter, First Street, they were doing last year, Merrimack, all of these different locations now on Wilton Avenue that was just done over in June. They were doing those. They've watered the stuff up on Wilton Avenue when they needed to. Property owners have been taking care of them up there. West Rocks, Aiken area where we did those trees as part of the project up there for the soccer field. They've done those just in the last week or two. And then as we get down toward Merrill, and those areas where they have gator bags on them. They've been filling those, and the residents have been filling them back in July. And then other areas they've been doing in July and August over at East Avenue. They've been doing them. What we did down on Woodward, these other areas that were part of the grant that we did down there, watered back at the end of July. And then the MLK was done back on the 13th of August. So you can see they've been going through and watering as much as they can. I know Gary's been telling me that he's been watering all over the place.
I can imagine.
Any questions at all on that?
Is there any defined process? I know the gator bags are optional as to when they install them and when they don't install them.
That based on the contract language, it's total in the RFP, it's totally up to them what method they're going to use, whether it's a gator bag or a watering truck. Ultimately, they're responsible for it if it doesn't make it. So we left that up to them rather than dictate what they used.
Does he do, do you know if he does it based on like the volume of trees? If there's like a one-off or a couple that are stragglers, like off the beaten route, where the gator bags are more efficient to fill them? And like an MLK, when he's got 80 plus trees, just send the tank truck and water directly?
Yeah, I think he does, where there's one-offs and he's noticed that he's needed him, and also where the people at the residences have been willing to fill them up. He'll put the gator bag on it and leave it there and let them fill it up and take care of it. But he has the crew go around and check on it.
Okay, good. Great.
All right, I'll stop sharing.
Enough right now, I don't think. Okay, next item, Public Work Open House coming up October 1st.
Yeah, the Department of Public Works in the city has decided to go back to having the open house touch a truck event. It's going to be down at the 15 South Smith Street, the DPW Operations Center, like it usually is, on October 1st from 9 to 12. So if we'd like to have the tree advisory committee have a table there, we can have some information like we've done in the past. I'll have a couple of trees that are going to be planted in the fall, dropped off there for samples so that the people can see them. But the setup is around 8:30.
What day is it?
It is October 1st. It's a Saturday.
Saturday.
So
Okay.
everybody is more than welcome.
You're gonna ask attendees to wear masks?
I haven't really been involved in that decision, so I can't answer that question yet.
Just curious. Okay, next item, 2023 Arbor Day.
Okay, we're getting around to the time of the year again where we're going to start taking a look at where we'd like to have the Arbor Day celebration in 2023. I can just give everybody a rundown kind of. Last year, obviously, we had it at Merrimack Elementary School. 2021 was the off-site event due to some of the COVID issues. Brookside and Kendall participated. 2020 didn't exist because of COVID. We did Wolf Pit in 19, Tracy in 18, Marvin, Kendall, and that's what we've done in the last 5 or 6 years. So we can take a look at the list if anybody's got any suggestions, or we can maybe go down to like Rowayton. We were going to do it up on Noah Lot where the school is up there in Drummond, but that is under construction, so we'll probably still hold off on that again.
Well, have we gone through all the schools twice now?
Just about, yes.
Should we use that list to see if there's any that haven't received their second Arbor Day yet and prioritize those?
Yes,
Go after somebody for a third one?
yes. We can take a look at that. There are a couple where due to circumstances, like I just mentioned, that one school, they haven't had their second one yet because it seems like they were starting construction and COVID hit and we couldn't go up there.
Jefferson just got a whole bunch of trees. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Jefferson got a lot of them.
And they got a lot.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. All right, thank you. And Jeff, I think you're with us, right? For our Tree Alliance update?
Yeah, so if that's the next one, I can speak.
You can speak. Jump
All
right.
right. Jeff Scher with the Norwalk Tree Alliance, president of the Norwalk Tree Alliance. So we held our meeting last week because this week I'm on vacation. Yeah, exciting stuff. We just we also met with Paul last month just to kind of create a overall strategy for planting, because we don't want to be doing double work. So that was a productive meeting. We're going to focus on cemeteries and churches and sort of religious organizations. And as far as tree planting, so that's sort of been our focus recently. We got a donation of 30 trees from the Latter-day Saints, which was a nice gift. So we're looking for places to plant them. We found so far 2 sites, roughly 18. Sorry, I'm just doing math in my head of how many trees we have placed so far. I believe we have places for 21 trees. We're meeting with First Congregational Church to potentially place 7 more. And then the thought was maybe we'll plant the remainder, a handful of trees at the tree farm, because we're also going to start looking into using the trees from the tree farm. We feel that they're pretty mature to this point and usable for our tree planting programs. So we're looking into that, and then we're also looking into restarting our educational tree school, which is exciting. So we've reached out to a number of teachers that we've dealt with in the past over at Columbus Magnet, Kelly, and I don't remember the other teacher off the top of my head, but so we're looking to restart that after COVID. Everyone seems to be, or not after COVID, but post-COVID, I guess, post-pandemic. So we're looking to, they feel more comfortable with getting back into the swing of that and starting it. So that's exciting.
Great.
One of the things that we talked about also was the Tree Alliance. If we do some of the tree plantings at the school, involving some of the children and using it as teaching moments for the Tree Alliance. So we'll maybe have a tree partially or 2 trees partially planted, and then they can come in and work with the students and the educational component too.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. That was another thing, just an idea that we had, or what we were trying to work towards, was involving the students in sort of designing and planting trees. So it could be a fun activity for the kids, to give them a map of the school, and say, hey, design your school with these trees, and we can help them place them. And then obviously, the whoever's involved in designing the actual placement of the trees, would just take it and have kids be junior designers for the day. And it just increases the exposure to green careers at an early age. So, and in a fun way and a hands-on way too.
Yeah, I would say so.
And as Jeff said, it was a very productive meeting, so that way there we could focus the information on what we're going to end up doing and what they're going to do, so everybody knows where we are. And then knowing with the trees that they're going to be planting, obviously they don't have a watering contract themselves, so that's why we said let's try and focus on the ones that are further away from buildings for TAC and DPW, and then some of the one-offs in the other areas like the religious organizations, where they can get people to water them for them, to make it a little easier for the volunteer effort that they would be involved in.
I got one question to Jeff. Where did Norwalk Tree Alliance president go on vacation?
Top secret. No, I'll just go into Long Beach Island in New Jersey.
Nice.
So,
Very
yeah,
nice.
it's a good, I've been going there since I was a kid, so looking forward to
Well,
it.
enjoy, you deserve it.
Thank you.
And thank you for participating as usual.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Last item, any other new business before adjournment? Hearing nothing, then we'll adjourn. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your weekend and hopefully we get some rain soon.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great
Bye.
weekend.